What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. Today I'm gonna be installing some a basic single pole lighting circuit with the feed, a single pole switch with lighting circuit with a feed at the switch. And this is a little basic drawing of what I'm gonna do here. This is gonna be the light fixture here. And for the light fixture, of course, there's a bunch of different symbols for different types of light fixtures and stuff like that. And this isn't the symbol for this specific light fixture, but I'm just gonna use this symbol just for simplicity for a light fixture. This is your light fixture here. And then this right here is a wire running over from the light fixture over to your single pole switch. And these two tick marks here are two conductors. That represents his two conductors inside that wire. And it's gonna be a black wire, will be here, and it's gonna be a white wire, and it's also gonna be a bare ground inside this wire here. And that's gonna be, I'm gonna use number 12 2 for this circuit. And number 12 wire is rated for 20 amp circuits. But all right, I got my light fixture here, which I'm gonna use this LED light fixture for. And I got my switch. I'm gonna use one of these boxes here. I already installed a couple boxes here just so I can do some different types of circuits, different type of wiring devices. But for the first one here, just to keep it simple, I'm just gonna add a simple single pole lighting fixture. And then on the next video, I'll probably do a single pole lighting fixture with a switch. With a feed at the light instead of switch. But this one, the feed is at the switch. This right here, an arrow. This is an arrow. It's a line or a wire going down. It's an arrow, and that represents a home run. And that's basically going to be the wire that's coming from the panel. I don't have a wire coming from the panel. I'm just using this box to represent a home run right here. And that's where I'm going to plug my power into my outlet. I added a little box right here. And I got a GFCI plug and outlet, a GFCI plug to plug into the wall outlet to bring power to this training board right here. But it's basically gonna represent a home run. That box is where the power is coming from. I'm gonna run power from this box over here over to probably, I'm gonna say this switch right here, or this device box right here. This is a little rough setup right here. I wish I would have had more PVC boxes, but I had a bunch of metal boxes from some commercial projects, and I just have a bunch of metal boxes because those commercial projects don't come around that often. And usually when they do come around, I still end up having quite a bit of material left over. But these usually, well, sometimes depending on where you're at, you may see the PVC plastic boxes, kind of like these here, inside the house because they're less expensive than the metal boxes. But I had these metal boxes on hand, little handy boxes. You can see got the little clips on the side for the metal framing. Also, you can drill it into the framing and mount the box. But I just mounted it straight to the wall, and I'm gonna start running some wires from this box over here to bring power to my switch. And then I'm gonna go from my switch up to my light. And that's gonna make a simple single pole lighting circuit with feed at the switch. I got a little bit of Romex over here. I hope I got everything together to make this video. If not, I might have to cut it short just to go get the stuff that I need. Since I already got my boxes mounted, I got a little tool right here. They call it a cable ripper. This is where you rip the cable jacket off of the cable. You don't absolutely have to do this before you put it in the box, but I'm just doing it now just before I put it in the box just to make it a little bit easier on me, and I have enough wire inside my box. But I'm gonna stick it through. It's a little hook on the inside, if you can see it. But you wanna put that hook on the opposite end of where you wanna rip the cable. Like I got it right there. And if you bend the cable down a little bit, and then you push down on the cable and pull out, you can see it rips the cable jacket off of it. And this does this without damaging the inside of the cable, because I could use a utility knife, which is not good to use, because if you use a utility knife, sometimes you can damage the cable or the jacket on the conductors, or the insulation on your conductors. And if you damage the insulation on your conductors, that's gonna minimize the integrity of your wiring over long term period. But I'm just doing this first to strip out a little bit of wire, the amount of wire that I think I'm gonna need. I can't exactly remember how much the code said. I think you should have like 6 inches extending out of the box or whatever. And it's another thing called box fill calculations that you also have to consider when installing the boxes. But that's on another in another realm right there. Right now, we're just gonna focus on actually just hooking up this switch and getting the wires to the switch. So I try to straighten this wire out just to make it kind of neat. I'm gonna stick it in on through here. I already had a cable clamp inside this little box here because I had something else hooked up. I'm gonna use my drill. I like to use my drill to tighten up little stuff like this. Sometimes I put a square tip on it. You don't want to tighten it too tight with these type of non-metallic cable connectors that go inside the boxes, because this little metal piece will pierce through the cable jacket sometimes, and it'll make it actually triple breaker or something like that. Could lead to a ground fault and a triple breaker. I like to make my stuff like real neat. That's just my thing. It's up to different people how they like to do theirs. So even when I'm using a training board or something like that, I try to make my wiring real neat, because it's good to get into practice of having neat work. I'm gonna add this here, since I got my cables here. So I got my cable right here. I need to add a support for my cable. So I'm gonna add these little wire staples right here. I like this kind right here that's easy to use. They got the two little nails on the side, and you could just drive them in. They're a little bit more simple for me, or easy to use for me. I prefer this kind. It's different kinds you can buy. The ones that you have to go side by side with. I can't go too crazy with this because I'm inside and I don't want to make too much noise. I keep my hammer straight as I can to nail these in. So I got me a little cable support on there. I'm not absolutely sure, but I'm pretty sure. I think the minimum amount of the support for the wire going inside the 2-inch by 4-inch junction box or device box is 8 inches. So you should have a support within 8 inches. The maximum you can go is 8 inches from where the wire goes inside the box. So for a 2 foot by 4 foot, anything other than that, I think it's like 12 inches. But I'm gonna just put mine right here. It looks like maybe about 6 inches. That's fairly neat. I got a little situation right here. Got me a support right there. I'm also gonna need one. I like to take mine and say I'm gonna go up and go inside this box here, but I'm gonna go ahead and knock a hole out of this next box where I'm gonna actually put my switch. And I use my hammer and just an old beat up screwdriver to knock that, just a little knockout inside the box to knock that knockout out. I'm gonna take my liner pliers inside and pull that little tab out of the box with a knockout. Just hold this for the knockout. Once I get that, I'm gonna need a little connector in order to support my cable going inside my box. So I use these little push-in cable connectors, it's 3/8 inches, non-metallic cable connectors. I'm gonna just pop it inside this box here. So all I gotta do is push my wire inside my box. So I'm gonna get about as much as I need. Like I said, I like to have mine neat. So I'm gonna come over here where I'm gonna turn a little bit before I turn. And I'm gonna bend my wire. Try to bend my wire a little bit just to make it look pretty neat and decent looking. So I'm gonna need about that much. I'm gonna take my diagonal cutters. I got that. Use my little push in. Get about as much as I need. I'm also gonna need a support on this side too, within 8 inches of this box, because it's a 2 inch by 4 inch. So take my hammer and my little cable clamp, cable staple. All this is going to look a little bit different inside the walls of a house, but just basically just to kind of give you an idea of what's happening here. All right, I ran a wire from this box here that's going to represent over here on this side. That's going to represent my home runner, my power coming from the panel, and I got this little switch box here that I'm running power from the panel to the switch. And once I get my power to my switch, what I have this wire here now, I'm gonna run another wire from this box into the light fixture. All right, so I got my little cable ripper right here. Take my cable ripper. I'm gonna rip some of that cable jacket off. Not as much as I need. Tear all that plastic and all that stuff out of there. Hopefully y'all it'll probably kind of hard to see. Try to adjust the camera a little bit. I got my wires here coming from my panel. This is my power going into my switch. And I need another little short piece to go from my switch to my light fixture. Just trying to figure out the neatest way I can actually run this wire. And I still have enough to get inside to go where I need to go. All right. I think I can deal with this little piece. Strip me a little bit of wire off this one. Now, of course, once you're running wires in a house, the wire's gonna be a lot longer than these here. But like I said, I'm just doing this basically for instructional purposes, just to kind of show what's going on inside of the light fixture and in your switch box. I need a little bit more wire. I think I'm just gonna use this longer piece here. So I'm going ahead and knock a hole out in the top of this box. With my hammer and a screwdriver, take the line of pliers and pull out that tab. Put me another push-in connector up top here. Non-metallic cable push-in connector. Go ahead and run down. Push me a wire in right here. Get it out as much as I think I'm gonna need inside the box, which I don't need a whole lot, but still want my work to be neat. So I'm gonna take my drill and tighten down this wire connector on my cable. Just give it a little support. Try not to tighten down too much. And I also need to add at least a support for these right here too. I'm gonna just add me one more staple on this one. Trying to split the distance in between the two. Support right here. I'm gonna support going to my light here. So I'm gonna have to strip that out and strip this one here out too. Use my cable ripper. Got a little pressure. Use my cable ripper on this end. Get about as much as I need on this side. I got my wires here. Wire in my switch. And my wire coming from my panel of my feed. Take it down so y'all can kind of see. This is where we started at over here. This is gonna be simulating my feed or power coming from the panel here. And then this is we're gonna go over here to this switch box right here, and from this switch box up here to this light. I'm just gonna use some simple Wagos on this, just because Wago is easy to use. Wago lever nuts in order to connect or do my terminations inside my switch, my light fixture inside my switch, and inside this little junction box over here. So next thing I'm gonna do is strip out my wire on these and my light fixture. So I'm gonna use this, my number 12 here. So I'm gonna use my little strippers and look on it and see what size. They say AWG stranded, American wire gauge stranded, and it has the numbers going on down it on the side, and that's the stranded. And then it also has AWG solid. So I want to use the number on the side for solid cable, because I'm using solid cable with this Romex. So I'm gonna strip out me a good little bit on my black and my white wire. So I got those. Strip out a little bit on this switch. Since I'm over here working on my switch too. And I go over there and I do that other part. I do my my junction box over there last. I try to strip me out a good little bit on my black wires, because I'm gonna wrap my black wires around in order to put them on the screw terminals on these on the switch. So I don't want to strip too much, but I don't want to strip the wire to where it's not enough to wrap around either. So for my light fixture, it's gonna be pretty simple. I'm just gonna have to hook up the black to black and the white to white. Here. I guess I'm using these little Wagos to make it simple. Got my Wagos on my little cable connectors here. I'm gonna tie in my black to black and my white to white on this light fixture. I don't always use Wagos. I'll strip too much wire out on this one. I don't always use Wagos, but for certain situations like with a load that's not that much, like LED lighting, I prefer to use it because it's easy. I don't have to do a whole lot of twisting the wires together and all that stuff that you got to do with solid cable on a solid cable using Romex. All right, I got my black to black and my white to white. I'm just going ahead and use one, add one for my ground too. One thing about these little simple LED fixtures here too is the wires inside to kind of get in the way and affect the brightness of the LED too, or the LEDs too. So you kind of manage the wires to where it won't get, where it won't affect the brightness of the LED bulbs or LED fixture. All right, I got my light fixture hooked up. So I got my switch. I'm gonna do my little switch next. Try to bring it a little bit closer without making it fall. So I'm gonna take my black. Well, it's always, well not always, but it's a good thing. It's best, I've learned to go ahead and take your neutral and your grounds and get them taken care of and get them out of the way before you go on to your hooking up your switch. And I just twisted these bare grounds together right here. And I'm gonna clip one off and use it to connect to my switch, to the ground terminal on my switch. So I got my two of my grounds twisted together. And I'm gonna try to push them over there kind of to the left side, because on the right side, my terminals for my switch, or for my hot wires on my switch, are gonna be on the right side. So I got that. I'm gonna clip this off, this other little piece off. Then I'm gonna take a little piece of my ground wire, and I'm gonna make a little loop. That way I can loop it onto the ground terminal on my switch. I'm gonna do the same thing with these black wires. I'm gonna put a little loop on those, that way I can loop it onto the terminals on my hot terminals on my switch. There's a little loop on that one. Put a little loop on that one. You can see I stripped out a good little bit in order to make a loop, nice little loop on there. I got a little loop on my ground wire too. I'm gonna take my two neutrals. Like I say, since I'm doing this little simple circuit right here in this LED lighting, I'm just gonna use some Wagos. I'm gonna have to strip some of this wire. I'll cut some of this wire back because I stripped too much off on my neutral. So I got one in there. Check the other one. Check the back just to make sure I got a good connection, because I don't want to pinch the insulation on the cable. I just want to pinch on the back side of the wig. I just want to pinch the actual wire or the conductor. So you can see here, I got my two neutral wires right here, my two hot wires. I got my ground wire. So next thing I'm gonna do is try to tuck my neutral wires back inside the box. Which this box here I'm using is really kind of a little too small for what I'm doing, but I'm gonna make it work. I'll make it work either way, just for this. Kind of push these neutral wires in here back out of the way. I got my single pole switch here. I'm gonna use a little square tip screwdriver in order to tighten the terminals down on my two hot wires and my ground wire. Take my ground wire and put it on this bare ground wire here and put it on the green on my switch. It's usually a good idea to twist whichever way you twist the loops on your wires. Kind of show you in the direction that your screw is going. Kind of like I did right here. I don't know if you can see it or not. But I twist the wire in the direction that the screw is gonna go, which is like clockwise. Because if I twist it, the loop on my wire in the opposite direction, then sometime it'll roll out on you when you tighten down the screw or the terminal. So I'm kind of try to bend that ground wire out of the way. I'm gonna take my two hot wires. Like I said, bend them in the same direction, which is clockwise. Then I'm gonna turn my terminal on my screw, loop it around. Tighten it down pretty snug. All right, I got my switch, single pole switch hooked up. Pull this neutral wire back out just to get a better picture of what's going on inside this switch box here. All right, I got my neutral wires right here. I got my two hot wires and my ground. Got my two hot wires here, my two black wires. One black wire that's coming from the light and the other black wires that are coming from the feed. And I tied my two neutrals together here. And I got my ground, my bare ground on the other side on this green screw. So that's my switch. The next thing I'm gonna do is hook up this junction box here where my power is coming from. I need some more Wagos. I could use use some, I think I got some wire nuts. Yeah, I'll just use some wire nuts since I got some in here already. Go ahead and strip out, do the same thing here, my black, my white, and my bare ground is gonna go to my green wire from my feed. All right, I got hot to hot, neutral, round brown. Go ahead and plug this up. See if I can turn off the light fixture. You can see we got a light fixture hooked up, is pretty bright. That's just a single pole. I'm trying to turn this, rotate this camera, but I guess once you get started, you can't rotate the camera. Right here, I got my single pole switch. I got my 2 hots. My black wire from my feed tied to one side, one terminal on the single pole switch, and my black wire from my light up here tied to the other side of my terminal. And I got my 2 neutral wires tied together. And I'm gonna got my bare ground on this other side. Got my single pole switch here, turn it on, turn it off, and go over here to my feed. And this is simulate what it's gonna be like coming from the panel. It can go to the panel to a junction box or straight from the panel to one room and at a receptacle there. Got my hot wire here and my neutral wire here, which is gonna be white, and my 2 bare grounds there. And I got it basically powered up, plugged up that junction box right there. But that's enough, just a single pole light with single pole switch with a feed at the light. And just to kind of go over on the drawing what it would look like. Again, you got your light fixture here, and you got a 2-wire, 12-2, a 2 conductor going over from your light fixture to your switch, and that's the one up top up here. This one up here coming down. I can't hardly see how to make it rotate. But yeah, this is my light fixture here. Try to put it right here. Light fixture here, and coming down from the light fixture down, there's a 12-2 or 2 conductor to the switch. And that's this wire right here. top, I'm going on the loop down to my switch. And from my switch, I'm going over. And this is my home run, and this is where my power is coming from. And that is this wire here coming down, going over to that little box over there. That's a simple single pole lighting circuit right there. That's how you hook up a single pole switch with a feed at light. The next video, I'll go over how you can hook up a single pole switch with a feed. Single pole. This is a single pole switch with the feed at the switch. And on the next video, I'm gonna go over how you hook up a single pole switch with a feed at the light. So instead of me running the power from this box here to the switch, I'm gonna run it straight to the light, and from the light back down to the switch box.